Hello YouTube, I am Opalson and welcome to the channel. Today I thought it would be fun to go through every single Total Drama character from Total Drama Island through Total Drama Presents the Redonkulous Race and discuss how I believe they would each do on a return. Now, this isn't how I would want them to do necessarily. It is more so how I believe they would do based on how they've been written and presented and performed in the past, as well as just how popular they are amongst the creative team as well as the fandom and the audience that watches, because everything's got to be taken into consideration when deciding how well someone should do on a return. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Before we get into the competitors, let's talk about Chris and Chef, because obviously with this being a traditional Total Drama season, they should be brought back, hopefully, and they would certainly add a ton of entertainment. Hopefully Chef would get to do a little bit more than he has in the more recent seasons that he has appeared in, excluding Dramarama. But again, with them not being competitors, I can't really rank how I expect them to perform in a competition. And I'm going to say the same goes for Don, who, again, I would love another Redonkulous Race season. I think he's a great character on his own. He's fun. He's got a great presence on screen, but he's not a competitor, so I can't really rank how I would expect him to do in a competition. However, the same cannot be said for Beth, as she is a competitor, and she's a former winner. She was one of the alternate winners of Total Drama Action between her and Duncan, and she is in Dramarama, so she has had a fair amount of favor from higher-ups at Fresh TV and in Total Drama. So, with that being said, I do expect Beth to perform relatively well in a return season. Not necessarily win again. I don't think anyone's going to end up being a two-time winner, let alone it being Beth. But I feel like a late pre-merge to early, maybe even mid-merge would make sense for Beth on a return. Next up, we have Bridget, and unfortunately, I'm not so sure I see the same outcome for her. Although she was chosen to be a part of the cast of Dramarama, meaning she is fresh in Fresh TV's mind, no pun intended, she just hasn't really ever done well in the competition seasons. The best she ever did was Island, where she went like mid to mid-merge, and after that, she was first boot, or dual first boot in Total Drama Action, and in World Tour, she went really early as well. So Bridget hasn't had the best luck in competition seasons. I could see that continuing. However, if they want to do something where both her and Jeff get a win, I could also see her winning. So Bridget can really go either way. I'm going to say most likely for Bridget, it's probably another mid-merge performance, if not an early boot. Now we have Cody, who is another one who could go either way for me, really. They did bring him back for Dramarama, which is a good sign that Fresh TV does still care about him, and Cody does have a decent-sized fan base, whether it be cult or, like, general. A lot of people tend to like Cody for whatever reason. Me included, I do like Cody too. Don't get that for whatever reason thing twisted. I don't see Cody as a winner necessarily, but I could see him making another late game run like World Tour, or I could see him going early like he did in Total Drama Island. So yeah, Cody's a bit up in the air for me. Next we have Courtney, who is the first person to come up who I believe could actually be a winner of a season. We feel like, as fans, we've been waiting for Courtney to have that win for quite some time. She does great on people's nerves a lot, but at the same time, she is one of the most prominent characters, one of the most featured characters, so it's been a little bit overdue for Courtney to get a win. So again, on a return, I see Courtney either winning or making a late game run, similar to how she did in Action and All-Stars. Then there's DJ, who is a little overdue for a good placement after his previous two performances in Action and World Tour respectively, and he didn't even do that great in Island. He got like 8th place or something along those lines. Very similar to Bridget, honestly, with a decent performance his first season, and then not very good either of the other times, despite him being a fan favorite character. So like very, very similar to Bridget. And I see a similar outcome for DJ, as DJ could, again, go relatively early, or he could make it maybe early, mid, potentially even late merge. They may give DJ a bit of a late merge run, but I'm not seeing DJ as a winner candidate. However, I would be very pleasantly surprised to be wrong here. Next up, we have Duncan, who is a clear favorite of Fresh TV and a favorite of the fans as well. So Duncan has a good chance of doing pretty well. Again, I don't think there's going to be any two-time winners. However, if there were, Duncan could be in consideration there as one of the candidates. That being said, I don't think there's going to be two-time winners, so I expect Duncan to merge for his 5th time consecutively. I'm not sure how far into the merge he'll go. He could go early like he did in All-Stars so that other characters can have a little bit more spotlight, considering he has gotten a lot of screen time across all of his performances. Or they can keep him around a little bit longer like they have in the other 3 seasons he competed in, Island, Action, and World Tour, just so that he can add that sort of star power to the cast that he brings every time he's there. I could see Duncan probably going around 5th through 7th, maybe 8th place. Now we have Eva, and a lot of people see Eva as a big player on a return, but sadly I have to disagree here. Eva just doesn't scream main character to me for whatever reason. She never really had much of a presence on the show. Like, she went early in Island, and then she was brought back just to get booted out that very same episode, so I don't think Fresh TV sees much potential with Eva's character outside of some jokes, and I think she can be a funny character. I loved the microphone bit they did with her in the Aftermath show where she was interviewing people about Duncan being on the run. She was like a roving reporter or whatever. I thought that was a lot of fun. But I personally don't see Eva doing very well, so I think best case scenario, she probably goes early merge. Then there's Ezekiel, who, he's just not getting past first boot, is he? I really don't think he is. Now that he's feral especially, they could do a storyline where they try to solve his feral nature, but I don't think they're going to end up doing that. I really think Zeke is feral for good, and I don't foresee him making it past first boot, unfortunately. Now we have Jeff, who, again, I don't foresee a 2-time winner coming up, and with Jeff having recently won and him never being the highest of priorities in the original Total Drama competition seasons, with the exception of his pretty good performance in Total Drama Island, I really don't see him making that late of a run, which is unfortunate because I love Jeff as a character, but I really see Jeff going probably relatively early on a return if this is a traditional Total Drama season. Now Gwen, a favorite of Total Drama fans and a favorite of Fresh TV as well. I feel like Gwen will stick around for a good long time. She is a legendary figure, and with Total Drama having not aired a season in such a long time, they're going to want these big legendary figures such as a Gwen and a Duncan and a Courtney to stick around for quite some time on the season to remind fans of why they fell in love with the show in the first place, and to pull in new viewers and fans as well, as Fresh TV knows that these characters are sort of among their strongest in their lineup. Again, I do not believe there are going to be any 2-time winners, so I do see Gwen making a deep run, but not necessarily a finalist run. So I do feel like Gwen will make it far, but not finalist. I foresee maybe top 5, probably at best for Gwen. Now Harold arrives, and Harold is an interesting one because his first season he did okay, his second season he did great, his third one he did terrible. So he's very, very middle of the road right now. Harold is a fantastic character, but placement-wise, he's rather average so far in his Total Drama lineage. That being said, Harold does bring a lot of entertainment to the show, and he is a massive character who is a fan favorite and brings in a lot of laughter for a lot of people. And I feel like with Total Drama wanting to appeal to a younger audience, Harold is kind of perfect for that sort of audience, considering his more nerdy nature. So I do see Harold making an okay run. I don't foresee him making it to the end. I don't see Harold as a winner unless they sort of build a full story around Harold for a season, which they could do, honestly. Harold is a popular enough and big enough character, but at the same time, I don't think they would do that just for Harold. So I'm going to say probably early to mid-merge at best for Harold. If not, he'd probably end up pre-merge yet again. Now Heather, who is probably going to do well. Again, with them being gone for so long, I do foresee a lot of the bigger figures from the earlier seasons making it further, like Gwen, Duncan, and Courtney, who I've mentioned prior, and now Heather, who is probably the biggest figure of the first cast, of the original cast. She's probably the biggest face of said grouping of people, and I do see her making a deep run here. Plus, if you look at patterns, Heather's got something going on for her. In Island, she did really well. Action went early. World Tour did really well. All-Stars, she went early. I think if Heather is to come back, I see a pretty decent performance in her future. Again, not a two-time winner, despite the fact that she may be the most likely to end up being a two-time winner out of the candidates on the board. I don't think that would happen. Maybe they'd give her third again like they did in Island, but I don't see her making the final two in any case. Next we have Izzy, and I'm going to be honest, I think Izzy is probably doomed to go relatively early. I feel like a lot of what her character is random wacky humor, and I feel like a lot of her random wacky humor has sort of run its course. I am a big fan of Izzy. I do really like Izzy. But I just don't see Izzy being long for the game in another season of Total Drama. So I'm going to say Izzy would probably end up being pre-merge. Maybe if she's lucky, she would be the merge boot. Now we've got Justin, and unfortunately I don't think Justin has another deep run in him. Even the season where he got to play antagonist in Action, he got kicked out of that role by Courtney a little over halfway through the season. And I love Justin's antagonist role. I thought he was a great antagonist. I thought he was a great character, very fun to watch, very good on the screen. But I just don't see Justin making another deep run in Total Drama, unfortunately, so he is likely a pre-merge boot on a return. Now Katie, and I don't think Katie is going to do very well. I don't see Katie making the merge. I don't see her making a deep run. Despite the fact that she has a fan base, I don't think Katie has a lot of character potential away from Sadie. I feel like Fresh TV feels the same way, and I don't think Katie can make it past the merge. Now we have Lashana, and Lashana is long overdue for another deep run. She made it really far in Island, she made it pretty long in Action, definitely deserved to be on All-Stars, but she did go early in World Tour. I feel like Lashana deserves a win by far. I could see her being a winner candidate in a Total Drama season if they were to do a new one, considering she's very entertaining, she's very fun on screen. A lot of people are fans of Lashana. She has a big fan base. She's a prominent on-screen character. There are a lot of upsides to Lashana. Another one of the ones I could see winning who hasn't won before. If not, I do think Lashana deserves a deep run, and I think that production feels a similar way. So I think at the very least, Lashana reaches the merge. At the very most, Lashana gets her first win. And, probably only win because no double winners. Now we have Lindsay, who was absolutely freaking robbed in All-Stars. She is one of these characters who I could see getting a win. Initially, she was considered to be a winner of Total Drama Action before she was taken out of the running there. But I do think she deserves to be in the running like anywhere else. I feel like she deserves a win here. She is a prominent character. She could have prominent storylines. She's a fun character. Lindsay, I see making a deep run by far, especially after what they did to her in All-Stars. They've got to make it up to her as a character, and I feel like Fresh TV feels a similar way, or I hope they do at least. So I see Lindsay at least making the merge, hopefully making a deeper run than that, and potentially even winning. Now Noah, who is a very clear fan favorite, and someone who Fresh TV has come to enjoy as a character and very much come to like, and maybe even love. I see a lot of potential in this character. A lot of people see a lot of potential in this character, but unlike some people, I don't see winner potential with Noah necessarily. I see him potentially third place could fit Noah. I think Noah is in for a mid to late merge run if he is to make a return. Now Owen, give Owen that Duncan treatment. Make sure he can go 4 for 4 on his merges. He deserves it. Owen is one of the biggest characters, no pun intended, in Total Drama history. He was the face of the show for the first season, the biggest reason a lot of kids watched, especially, and a fan favorite and Fresh TV favorite alike. Everyone loves Owen. Owen is getting, at the very least, merge. At the very most, probably like 4th place, I would say, for Owen. At least merge for Owen. That is basically how I sum this up. So yeah, good news for Owen. Next up is Sadie, and I see the same issues with Sadie that I do with Katie. I don't think she has much of a character outside of Katie, and I don't think Sadie is making it past the merge. There's a nice, quick, easy, short one for you. Now we have Trent, and if Total Drama does continue its current canon storyline, the only way they're bringing Trent back is to fix him as a character. I love Trent from Total Drama Island. Trent from Total Drama Action is a little loony, and a lot of people say his character got derailed. He's probably the first character in Total Drama to have gotten derailed. The only way they're bringing him back is if they devote a long storyline to fixing the guy, and I could see Trent potentially being a winner if they do this, or at the very least, probably maybe 7th place I would see for Trent. If they do bring Trent back, it's to fix him. Otherwise, they're not bringing him back, so the only way Trent is coming back is if he does make a late game run. Now for our final island character, we have Tyler. Tyler, I think, has a lot of potential as well. He's mostly a joke character, but I do see him having potential to go far in the game. I don't see him having winner potential, but maybe a nice floater game similar to how Cody had in World Tour, or similar to how maybe Harold did in Action. I could see Tyler making a pretty deep run, mostly being there for laughs and fun at his own expense, and maybe like 5th place for Tyler if they do go that route. If not, Tyler is probably a pre-merger. Now entering Total Drama World Tour, we have Alejandro, who, just so you know, he is probably my favorite character in the entire Total Drama canon. Alejandro is always a threat in these things. He always makes it far. Out of the 2 times he's played, he's been one of the biggest threats across the board, and everyone recognized that. He is a master manipulator, a great social player, and a great character to watch on screen. So I think Fresh TV knows the value that Alejandro brings to the show, which is why they even kept him around in All-Stars as long as they did. I think Alejandro makes another late game run, but again, no 2-time winners, so I don't see him making a finalist run. I see Alejandro probably at most a 6th place, at the very worst, maybe like 9th. Now we have Blaney, and if Blaney is to return, she's not doing well. She's not making it far. Nothing really is happening for Blaney. Blaney is pre-merge. No ifs, ands, or buts. But if there is a but, I'm going to be real upset about it because I don't really enjoy Blaney. Yeah, another quick, easy, short one. Now there's Sierra, and Sierra is, in my opinion, the biggest derailment in Total Drama history. I don't think you can really redeem Sierra after how All-Stars went for her, so I see Sierra probably going home pre-merge. If they do make an effort to fix her and save her character, she may reach the merge, but I don't see her going deep whatsoever. Yeah, so early boot for Sierra, unfortunately, considering she was very entertaining in World Tour, but they've kind of ruined Sierra's chances at ever making a deep run in the future, unless they do a lot of damage control. Now getting into Revenge of the Island, we have AnnMaria, and I know a lot of people see great amounts of potential in AnnMaria, but I personally do not. I don't see how AnnMaria could make a deep run in a season. I see AnnMaria as a pre-merge boot, and that's just sort of how I'm feeling it. I could be incorrect there. Fresh TV could have some bigger plans for AnnMaria, but I don't see her making any late game run personally. Next is B, who unfortunately falls into a similar category where I don't think Fresh TV is willing to put him in a position to go far in the game, considering he doesn't even speak, and a big part of the show is drama, and someone who doesn't talk can't really get into much drama. So I don't think B is making a late game run, or really going very far at all, despite the fact that B's a great dude and a lot of fun to watch. He's not making a deep run in the event of a return. Then there's Brick, who I believe actually has a fair amount of potential to go far. Again, Brick doesn't strike me as winner material unless they do a fair amount of reshaping with his character throughout a season and give him like a major plot point sort of storyline. I see Brick more than likely being probably early merge if he does come back, if not likely pre-merge, but I do see a lot more potential with Brick than he is given credit for. Next up, we have Cameron, who I don't see being a two-time winner because I don't see any two-time winners. I'm going to keep repeating myself there. Sorry about that. I'm sure it's getting annoying. But I do see Cameron at least making the merge, considering he is a winner, and Fresh TV is going to want to keep their winners looking somewhat strong on a return, based on the fact that there is a sort of lineage and legacy behind the winning characters in particular. I see Cameron probably being early merge boot. Then we have Dakota, or rather Dakota Zoid now, and with her being Dakota Zoid, I see a similar outcome to what happens with Feral Ezekiel. I don't see Dakota making it far. I don't see her making the merge due to her being a giant mutant. If she does come back, which I also don't think is very likely, but if she does, Dakota is not long for the game in my humble opinion and perspective. Now we have Dawn, who is probably the biggest fan favorite character to not have done anything really significant within the show. No offense. I like Dawn as a character. I don't see her as a winner, unlike a lot of, super fans of this character. I see her as a fun character. I see her as potentially making the merge, probably going mid to early merge, just based on the fact that I don't see too much storyline potential with this character, but I do feel like as a fan service, they may keep Dawn around for a little while and give her some sort of small story to stick to, but I don't see her having a major role in a story that would lead to her winning a season. Next up, we have Joe, who is another character I don't see as having a lot of winner potential, but I do think that Joe could make an okay sort of run, considering how poorly her character was treated in All-Stars. I feel like they might want to do a little bit of a redemption thing with Joe for some reason. I don't know why, it's just a bit of a gut feeling. However, I could also see Joe going pre-merge. I don't see Joe making a late game run, so to speak. Probably best case scenario, Joe is an early merge boot, but I see Joe probably being pre-merge if my assumption of them wanting to redeem her is incorrect. Next up we have Mike, and Mike is a very interesting one, as both of his major plot lines in his 2 seasons were focused around him having multiple personality disorder, and with him having gotten rid of that at the end of All-Stars, I don't know what they could do with his character, but I do feel like it would be fun to explore him as a more well-rounded and fleshed-out individual as Mike, as opposed to being so many different personalities in one sort of body. I feel like Fresh TV could also like that, and they do seem to be fans of Mike. I'm a big fan of Mike myself, which I know is controversial considering his performance as Mal, but I'm a big Mike supporter. That being said, I feel like Mike isn't missing out on the merge, considering who he is and his standing in Fresh TV and in the Total Drama franchise, and the fact that even just people on the cast, like every cast, seemed to like Mike for whatever reason, with the exception of like Scott. But I think Mike can make a deep run. I don't see him winning because 2-time winners are a no-no, but Mike probably late merge at the latest. Now is a sad one as we come to Lightning, who unfortunately I don't think can be redeemed after how badly his All-Star season went. I do think that Lightning could also have that redemption sort of thing that I was talking about with Joe, where Fresh TV might want the character to sort of not have ended on as sour of a note as it did, and I think Lightning's note was even more sour than Joe's, so I feel like my assumption with Joe is probably more accurate with Lightning. They might want to keep Lightning around a little bit longer to save him, but at the same time, I have similar feelings to that of which I had with Joe, which is, if they do want to redeem Lightning, he's probably going early merge. If they don't, he's probably a pre-merger. Now we come to Sam, who is an odd one as well, because he is a 2-time player who should only be a 1-time player. I feel like most people agree Sam didn't earn his All-Star status, but I'm not disappointed with the fact that he did perform in All-Stars. He didn't really do much harm, honestly. Like, he wasn't ruined like a lot of other characters were, because he just wasn't on the scale as like of the other players on the season, if that makes sense. I do feel like Sam likely doesn't have a merge in him, unfortunately. I don't think Sam is capable of reaching the merge. If I am wrong, then so be it, but I think Sam is a pre-merge boot. Please, for the love of everything holy, do not allow Stacey to make it out of the first episode. However, I would like to see Zoe make it out of the first episode, as she is one of the best characters from the Revenge of the Island cast, and I feel like Fresh TV has a very, very strong and high opinion of Zoe. I don't see Zoe going pre-merge unless they want to really shock the fans. But I see Zoe, again, not two-time winner, and being a winner, I think she should have a strong performance, and I think they want her to have a strong performance, so at the very least, a merge if she does happen to come back, which obviously not all 84 contestants are going to come back, but, you know, if she's one of the ones that does, I do see her making the merge, at the very least. Now we reach Pockettail Island with Amy to start things off, and Amy, first of all, I don't see her coming back, and if she does, I do not see her making it out of the pre-merge section of the game, unless they want to do a full-on antagonist thing with Amy, but I don't think Amy really fits that sort of role. I feel like there are better options for that role. I feel like Amy is a pre-merge boot through and through. Speaking of which, Beardo, I also see him as a pre-merge boot through and through. I don't think Beardo makes it very far in any sort of situation unless he starts talking in some way. So, yeah, Beardo is unlikely to make it out of the pre-merge section of the game, in the event that Fresh TV does bring him back, which in itself is rather unlikely. Now we have Dave, and Dave has soured on so many people after his only appearance. I don't know how you can introduce a character who is somewhat likable and derail him so quickly as they did with Dave. It's kind of impressive, and I feel like if they do bring Dave back, they're going to have to retool his character in order to even make it work, considering he was sort of just a bit of a simp, maybe an incel would be a better term. Dave just didn't have a good sort of mental stability to play a game like Total Drama, and I feel like that showed, considering he voted himself out. But if they do ever happen to bring him back, they would have to sort of reshape him, and if they do reshape him, I could see Dave actually doing relatively well. But if they don't reshape him, he's probably pre-merge, maybe even one of the first couple boots, considering how much the fandom appears to dislike this character. So yeah, Dave, probably not long for the world if he does come back in an upcoming season. Now Ella, who honestly I just don't think is likely to come back, and if she does come back, she is such a one-note character, she is not going to make it far in the game, in my opinion. I feel like Ella is a pre-merge boot, definitively. Next we have Jasmine, who is probably the only non-winning member of the Pockettail Island cast who I could see actually being a winner. That being said, I don't really see it as all that likely, but I do see a late game run for Jasmine, as we do need some Pockettail Island representation, and I don't see really anyone in the cast who can fit that sort of role other than Jasmine, who isn't already a winner. So, yeah, Jasmine I can see at least mid-merge, at the very most, potentially a long shot winner candidate. Now we have Leonard, and there is no chance Leonard is making it out of like the first 3, maybe 4 episodes if he's lucky. So, yeah, quick and easy. The same goes for Max, who I don't think is going to make it very far upon a return, unless they do something like they did with him in Pockettail Island, where they just sort of keep him around and everyone makes fun of him, and he is very inconsequential to anything. Like a joke character, similar to what I mentioned about Tyler a while back, but, you know, to a much more extreme degree of being a joke, and quite a bit less funny as well. Max is very entertaining, though, so maybe they could keep him around for some laughs for a little bit, but I don't think Max makes a merge, personally. And the same goes for Rodney here, who I think has less of a chance than Max does, maybe even less of a chance than Leonard does, and that's rather embarrassing. I feel like Rodney is a character who doesn't really have any potential to making it far unless they retool what his character is and show, like, maybe Rodney matured and now he doesn't fall in love anytime a woman so much as glances at him. And, you know, I don't think they would do that drastic of a character change for such an insignificant character as Rodney. Sorry, Rodney. I just don't see you doing too well. Next we have Sammy, or Sammy, who is a little bit of a weird one for me, as I know a lot of people like Sammy, and I like Sammy as well, as a character, but I don't see her having much storyline potential, honestly. It's sort of like that Katie and Sadie thing, where I don't see how Sammy is entertaining without Amy in the picture for her to sort of, fight against. I don't see Sammy as much of an entertaining character. I feel like other characters pull off the sort of nice girl thing a little bit better, like a Zoe, like a Skye, who we'll be getting to later, like Carrie from the Redonkulous Race, who we'll get to later, even as far back as Bridget, who has a lot more going on for her. I feel like a lot of other characters have that sort of archetype filled in a lot better. So I don't think Sammy would last very long in a season without Amy, where other characters like that can be brought in. So unfortunately I see pre-merge for Sammy, unless they do want more Pockettail Island representation, in which case maybe early, at the very most, mid-merge. Now we have Scarlett, and first off, no chance is she ever coming back. And second off, no chance is she making it to the merge. Very clear pre-merge early boot here. Scarlett is not made to go far after the big villain reveal that they had for her. Now we have Sean, who in my opinion is the best character to come from Pockettail Island, and I know a lot of people agree with me there based on what I've seen in the fandom, online, and throughout, like, anyone who's talked about Pockettail Island, really. Sean, I feel like, would have to make a deep run if you want that Pockettail representation, considering he is the most well-liked character from the season, him and Jasmine. So I do think Sean has at least a merge in him if he is to return. Then we have his fellow finalist in Skye, who I do think is likely to reach the merge if she is to return, because Skye, again, would bring that Pockettail Island representation, and she has such an inoffensive character and, like, inoffensive personality that no one can really get upset at Skye making a relatively deep run, but, like, at the same time, no one's going to be super stoked about it. So I think Skye can make the merge, but I don't see Skye as making a super deep run, like, late game. I feel like probably mid-merge at best for Skye. Now we have Sugar, who I am very much not a fan of, and I'm sure a lot of other people agree, and I don't feel like Sugar would be making any late game runs. I feel like Sugar is the sort of character to have a good performance, and then the season where they come back for the first time, they're probably going to go out early. So I do feel like Sugar is likely an early boot if Sugar is to make a return. Now, to close out our Pockettail Island adventure, we have Topher, who is a character who would need to be retold a significant amount, like a lot of other characters, if he did hope to make a deep run. If they do bring Topher back, I guess maybe late pre-merge could make sense, like maybe 1 or 2 votes before the merge could fit Topher, but, like, unless they change his character, I don't see him making a late game run. Maybe early merge at best for Topher, unless he is changed drastically. Now, our first Redonkulous racer, we have Brody. Most of these Redonkulous race characters are going to be done in pairs, but Brody's partner Jeff has already been done, obviously, as he was an island competitor. So, Brody, I don't see him doing too poorly, but I also don't see him doing too well. I guess Brody could get a pre-merge boot, potentially. They might boot him really early, honestly. But if they want to give him a chance to shine on his own as a comedic character, which I do think Brody is a hilarious character, honestly, I feel like they could keep him around maybe until early merge, maybe mid-merge, considering he is a winner. But I don't think Brody is likely to stick around too long in the event of a return. I feel like probably pre-merge, if not early merge, fits this character. Probably the best outside of the Redonkulous race if he is to come into a typical total drama season. Next we have Carrie and Devin, who I feel fall into a similar category to one another, where I think they could either go out pretty early just as, like, cannon fodder, or they could stick around and sort of just float on the screen as cannon fodder for later. Like, I don't see either of these two winning in a total drama season. I feel like if they did a Redonkulous Race 2 and brought them back, I could see Carrie and Devin winning, but I don't think they have what it takes to win a total drama season, so they could really fall anywhere. I feel like probably mid-merge, early merge is where I would put them myself. Now we have the stepbrothers Chet and Lorenzo, and in a total drama season, I think these characters are probably pre-merge, or at least one of them is, and then the other one can brag about it the rest of the season. That can sort of give them a little bit of something to do for maybe like 2 to 3 episodes as they reach the merge, but I don't see either of these two characters making any late game runs, personally. At the very most, one of them may make mid-merge, and I really find that unlikely. I feel like more than likely it's probably a pre-merge, and then the other one probably shortly thereafter. Next we have the goth team of Crimson and Enwy, who I feel like could do similarly to how they did in the Redonkulous Race. I feel like either one of these characters could sort of do that not trying thing, yet still somehow succeeding to the befuddlement of everyone around them. And I honestly wouldn't mind seeing that, as these characters are enjoyable with how monotone they are and how little they care for anything and anyone. So I could see either goth making a relatively decently, good run deep into the game, but I don't see either one as a winner candidate. Probably 6th, maybe 7th place would be best for either one of these individuals, in the event that they do end up competing in a typical total drama season. Next we have Dwayne and Jr., who both lack winner potential in my opinion. However, they do both sort of excel in merge potential for me. I feel like both could reach the merge if either one is brought into a typical total drama season, and I feel like if they are brought in, they do stand some sort of a chance at least bringing in some humor with their dynamic together. However, if only one is brought back, I don't see them lasting that long without the other one to lean on. I feel like Dwayne probably has a better chance of doing that than Junior, because he is a bit more of an over-the-top character and could be kept around for laughs, whereas a lot of Junior's characteristics sort of stem from him wanting to get away from his dad. So if you do take him away from his dad, he doesn't really have much to do. I feel like they both could reach the merge, probably not late merge. Best case scenario, probably mid-merge, but most likely early merge, honestly. Next we have the geniuses, Elodie and Mary, and I don't see either of these characters as having a ton of potential to go far in the game. I feel like they're both likely pre-merge contestants, just sort of there on the cast as numbers if either one is brought into a typical total drama season. I could be proven wrong if one of them does sort of go evil genius instead of just genius, but I don't see either of these characters really doing that either. So I'm going to have to say probably pre-merge at best, which is the worst aside from literal first boot. But fun fact, I do think these characters do also have potential to be literal first boot. So, I don't think there's too much hope for Elodie or Mary in a regular total drama season. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Emma and Kitty, who are both characters I think could do great in a regular total drama season. In fact, I do see Emma as potentially a dark horse winner pick in a return, as she does have a lot of good character traits and potential, and she's very well-rounded and sort of versatile as a character. Kitty is a lot of fun, a very fun-loving sort of character, and could make a decent run, as well as sort of a lovable sort of underdog type character, or maybe just the nice girl next door sort of character. I feel like both these characters have a lot of potential if either one is brought into a regular total drama season. I feel like Emma has winner potential in a very, very long shot sort of way, and I feel like Kitty has long-term potential in the game, just like her sister. I feel like both members of this team could do well if given an opportunity, and would probably reach the merge. Likely mid-merge in Kitty's case, late merge in Emma's, in my opinion. They are followed by tennis rivals Jerry and Pete, who, unfortunately, despite how incredibly entertaining they are, I don't see either one of these characters as having any sort of late-game potential, or even mid-game potential. I feel like Jerry and Pete are almost always going to be early boots, unfortunately, considering how funny they are as characters. So, yeah, pre-merge for these two. On the exact opposite side, we have Jacques and Josie, the ice dancers, who are both fantastic characters who I think would excel in a total drama sort of landscape, considering their competitive nature. Jacques is less competitive than Josie, but I feel like that could ultimately lead him to being another dark horse winner pick, similar to Emma, where there is a likable side to Jacques, and with him having played the role of antagonist, he could have that sort of redemption arc, similar to how Heather had from Island in Action to World Tour. Despite still being a villainous sort of character, they still got that win, and they still got that sort of victory over someone who was a greater evil. Speaking of greater evil, Josie could be that greater evil. Again, already being an antagonist in a season, but Josie just has that sort of perfect character to be able to do that, and I feel like Josie is going to make it far if given an opportunity to play a total drama season, unless they do the thing where they boot her early, which I hope they wouldn't do, because Josie is a phenomenal character, in my opinion, as an antagonist, and I feel like she could make a mid to late game run in a total drama season, and I would very much like to see these two play in that sort of game myself. So I feel like mid to late merge for both of these characters, potentially winner potential and redemption potential for Jacques. And maybe even Josie down the line, but I feel like she's still on the evil scale enough for her to not have that redemption arc in her first returning season. Then we have the Adversity twins, Mickey and Jay, who I think have some sort of weird potential, similar to sort of how Harold and Cody had, where they have that sort of nerd factor where everyone can make fun of them, they can lose a ton, they can get beat up a lot, but then somehow find themselves sort of towards the end game. I don't see either of these characters winning. I don't see either of these characters doing particularly well, honestly, but I feel like they could have that sort of appeal if one of them is brought back, or if they're both brought back and one of them goes early and the other one's sort of like doing it for their brother, that sort of storyline. But ultimately, I don't see much potential for Mickey and Jay in that sort of category, as neither one is on the level of a Cody or a Harold or a Cameron, for example. So I'd say probably pre-merge for Mickey and or Jay. Maybe, just maybe, early merge for one of them could fit. Next we have Tom and Jen, the fashion team people. I feel like they don't have too much potential. Like, despite being named after the creators, Tom and Jen don't really seem to have much long game storyline potential outside of with one another like they had in the Redonkulous race, where they sort of argued over what was best for their fashion line and their fashion blog. I don't feel like they have that sort of thing in any other season, any other formatted season, so I feel like Tom and Jen would probably end up being pre-merge if they do end up coming back, which in itself is relatively unlikely. Next is Kelly and Taylor, which again is a return that is relatively unlikely, but this time it's a very good thing, as Kelly is a rather poor mother, not like wealth-wise, but like quality-wise, and Taylor is probably my least favorite character Total Drama has ever made. That being said, if they were to be brought back, I feel like either one could potentially reach the merge, unfortunately. I feel like they might even throw Taylor into a full-on main antagonist role, which could bring her all the way to the end game, which sounds like my worst nightmare. Unfortunately, it is a possibility considering her character type. That being said, if they are brought back, they are likely pre-merge, if not early merge characters and contestants, thankfully. Next, we have Lori and Miles, the vegans, the hippies, those sorts of characters, that archetype. I'm so tired right now, I'm sorry. I feel like these two are either early boots or the kinds of characters who could sort of float under the radar and make it to a mid-merge point in the game. I don't see either one as particularly winner type characters, but I do see them as potentially reaching a merge and making it to that middle stage of the merge, not necessarily end game, but also not too early into the merge. I feel like that could fit for them, either one of them. in a hypothetical situation where one or both of them do return. Next, we have Rock and Spud, the Rockers, who I do love. I find them very entertaining, but I don't see either of them having real win equity nor real late-game equity. I feel like these two are probably pre-merge, unless they want to keep them around for comedy, in which case either one of them could end up lasting maybe mid-early merge. Like, not mid-merge, but not necessarily early merge either. Sort of that middle ground there. I feel like Rock and Spud would fall there, more than likely. Either that or pre-merge. Next, we have the Dater-Hater Daters, Ryan and Stephanie, who I believe both have different potential in terms of a regular Total Drama season. I feel like Stephanie could very well fill in a antagonist role, which could mean she can make it pretty far into the game, potentially even like Final 3, Final 4, Final 5-ish. And I feel like Ryan can fill in that nice guy sort of role that a lot of seasons do have, that, you know, similar to a DJ in Island, or even a Jeff in Island, where Ryan could also have late game equity. But I don't see either of these two characters really as winners, unfortunately. I don't know. Ryan could be a stretch. Maybe he could have win equity, but I'm not really certain on that. I'm not really feeling that right now for some reason. That being said, I feel like both of these characters do have late game or early game written all over them. I don't feel like they're necessarily doomed, but they could be, depending on sort of how they are behaving, considering their behavior does tend to sway rather drastically often. So I feel like either really early or relatively late. So pre-merge or mid-merge. That's probably what I'm going to have to say for Ryan and Stephanie. Next, we have the police cadets, Sanders and MacArthur. I feel like Sanders also fills in that nice character sort of role, nice girl sort of role, similar to a Bridget, or even from Redonkulous Race, I feel like Carrie fits that role, and Kitty can do the same sort of thing. Sanders does have a little bit more of a mean streak, a little bit more badass side to her, so I feel like that could be more beneficial to her, making it a little bit further into the game than someone like a Kitty or a Carrie. So I feel like Sanders probably mid-merge at best, whereas MacArthur is a character and a half, probably the best one character to come from this season in a lot of fans' eyes and Fresh TV's eyes, as well, as they did bring MacArthur in for even Dramarama. So I see MacArthur as having win equity. Honestly, I feel like MacArthur is popular enough and funny enough and entertaining enough to be able to make it to the end and win a season, if not at least like late merge for MacArthur, mid merge for Sanders. Finally, for the love of total drama, finally, we have come down to our final contestant, who is Tammy. And Tammy, obvious winner candidate right here. We all know Tammy is an underrated strategic queen of total drama, and the fact that they put her on Redonkulous Race just hindered her abilities. If they throw her into a total drama season, she's going all the way to the end. No questions asked. No, but seriously, Tammy is gone, like, very, very early pre-merge. Hello? Is anybody still here? If so, I would like to say thank you so much. This video took a long time to make, and I put a fair amount of effort into it. This is my first video. I know I'm not very good at the whole editing thing. I am hoping to get better at that. My quality isn't the best, and I recognize that as well. This is a very shaky work in progress sort of thing, but I am a very big fan of content creation and a very big fan of animation and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to sort of combine those two things into something that can sort of interest me and hold my interest, and I can share my interests with the world and hopefully build a small community of people who have similar interests and thoughts and feelings on things that I do. So if you do enjoy animation and you do enjoy things like movies and TV shows and video games and stuff like that, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of stuff like that on this channel. So if you do like those sorts of things, then feel free to subscribe for more content like this and more content in those sorts of subgenres, categories, and topics in the future. And also, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. It would mean a lot to me. And that's about it for the video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good night.